Beijing's help to Moscow in the war against Ukraine is a strategic challenge not only for Kyiv but also for other European countries, the US Deputy Secretary of State is convinced. High-precision machine tools and other equipment for the military-industrial complex, dual-use goods, components for drones and even intelligence data, all this is supplied to Russia by China, bypassing Western sanctions.
I do want to underscore that what we've seen from China to Russia is not a one-off or a couple of rogue firms involved in supporting Russia. This is a sustained, comprehensive effort that is backed up by the leadership of China, that is designed to give Russia every support behind the scenes that will allow them to reconstitute elements of their military force, their long-range missiles, their UAVs, some of their capacities to track movements on the battlefield, long-range artillery and the like. Kurt Campbell, United States Deputy Secretary of State, in an interview with Politico.
At the same time, Beijing, compared to Russia's other partners, is playing in the gray. China is not ready to jeopardize its trade and diplomatic ties with the Western world, whether, for example, North Korea does not hide its complicity with Moscow. Pyongyang was one of the few to recognize the annexation of Crimea by Russia in 2014, and after, in 2022, other Ukrainian territories occupied by Russia. According to the South Korean Ministry of Defense, since autumn of 2023, Pyongyang has transferred more than 6,500 containers of ammunition to Moscow. Each of those could transport approximately 3 million of 152mm artillery shells or up to 500,000 of 122 rockets for Grad launchers.
An axis of authoritarian states, Iran, Russia, North Korea, China, acting in an assertive way that is threatening our values, threatening our interests abroad and at home in a more interconnected world. And what are we doing to meet that threat? We've made the generational decision to strengthen our national defense and increase defense spending to a new standard. And that's not just all on the come. When I made that announcement a few weeks ago, it was coupled with an instant increase in our defense spending of £500 million to support Ukraine, which, as everyone can see from the news today, is absolutely the right imperative, because an investment in Ukraine's security is an investment in our security. We have peace through strength. We have to restore deterrence, and that's why it's imperative that Putin fails.
Another ally of Russia, Iran, supplies the Federation with artillery shells that are now in deficit, writes the Insider. In the summer of 2023, investigators received information about contracts worth about $2 million. Tehran committed to transfer to Moscow tank and artillery ammunition, as well as tank barrels. In addition, it's been reported about large-scale deliveries of Shahed drones from Iran to Moscow and the production of UAVs using Iranian technology and the technology of Russia itself.
According to the agreements reached in 2022, known from the Alabuga documents leaked by hackers, Iran pledged to supply 6,000 sets for assembling the Shaheds with 2.5 years. Russian-made drones have changed. They began to install Cometa-M antennas to combat electronic warfare, replaced the warhead with a more effective one, changed the color of the body to black to complicate detection at night, and even began to install LTE modems to track the movements of drones. Mohajer 6 reconnaissance drones were also supplied in small quantities, which, however, were not widely used. From the publication by the Insider.
NATO is seriously concerned about the unification of sanctioned dictatorial regimes. Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg admitted that the alliance is forced to work beyond its geographical boundaries to confront dictatorships.
What we see in Europe, in Ukraine, is how Asia matters for the war in Ukraine. And it reminds us of that what happens in Europe matters for Asia, and what happens in Asia matters for Europe, and that China and Russia, authoritarian powers, Iran, North Korea, are more and more aligned, and therefore we need to not expand NATO to the Asia-Pacific. NATO will remain Europe and North America, but to work with our partners in the Asia-Pacific.
Western analysts have already called the partnership between Russia, Iran, North Korea and China the emerging axis of evil 2.0. Former U.S. ambassador to the UN, John Bolton, believes that Afghanistan may also join these countries. Reported by Anastasia Tarnavska, Larisa Zubenko, UATV News.